Federal funds have to be part of our budget solution because the federal government is part of our budget problem. When President Clinton was in office, California got back 94 cents on the dollar from the federal government. Today we only get 78 cents back. But in the meantime, Texas gets 94 cents, Pennsylvania gets $1.07, Alaska with all its oil gets back $1.84 for every dollar, and guess what New Mexico gets? $2.03. This should be much more fair and equitable. We are not looking for federal bailout, just for federal fairness. Californians carry also a special burden since we are a border state. The federal government alone controls immigration policy. It alone controls border security. And while acknowledging its responsibility, the federal government is not even funding a 50-50 split of the costs of undocumented immigrants. We no longer can ignore what is owed to us or what we are forced to spend on federal mandates. We are currently owed billions of dollars by the federal government for various different programs. We need to work with the feds so that we can fix the flawed formula that demands that the states spend money that we do not have. And now Congress is about to pile billions more onto California with the new health care bill. Now, as you know, while I enthusiastically supported health care reform, it is not reform to push more costs on the states that are already struggling while other states are getting sweetheart deals. Health care reform, which started as a noble and needed legislation, has become a trough of bribes, deals, and loopholes. Yet, you've heard of the bridge to nowhere? Well, this is healthcare to nowhere. California's congressional delegation should either vote against this bill that is a disaster for California, or get in there and fight for the same sweetheart deal that Senator Nelson of Nebraska got for the Cornhusker State. Because that senator got for the Cornhusker State the corn, and we got the husk. The third and the final piece of my budget is the $6.9 billion in federal funds. As I've said in my State of the State address, federal funds must be part of our budget solution because the federal government is part of our budget problem. During the Clinton administration, California got 94 cents on the dollar. We now only get 78 cents on the dollar. Texas is getting 94 cents, Florida 97 cents, and New Mexico gets more than $2. This should be more equitable. For example, right now, there are discriminatory formulas that force California to subsidize other states. In Medi-Cal, our matching fund rate is the lowest of any state. We get 50%. The national average is 57%. My budget proposal increases California's rate to the national average, which means an extra $1.8 billion. We are also asking the federal government to pay us what they owe us. My budget includes $1 billion for medical costs that should have been paid by Medicare. It also includes $1 billion that Washington owes us for various federal education mandates. And other big items, of course, is immigration. Immigration is a big item. The federal government alone controls immigration policies and border security. Therefore, my budget includes the $900 million in federal funds to cover the costs of incarcerating undocumented immigrants. As I said in my State of the State, we are not looking for federal bailout. We are looking for federal fairness. And we seek not just money, we also seek more flexibility to prioritize our own resources and manage our own budget. Right now, the federal government is forcing us to spend money we do not have. The federal court-appointed receiver is forcing us to spend 3 times more per inmate on medical care than in other states. Various federal rules are tying our hands and preventing us from reducing costs in some state programs. I want to remind the federal judges and the politicians that California is not Washington. We do not have the luxury of printing money or running trillion-dollar deficits. I know that many previous governors have tried very hard to get California a fair share from Washington, and they were not successful. Yet I promised the people of California that I will be relentless, that I will be fighting for that. In fact, later on this month, we will be traveling to Washington with the 4 legislative leaders here from California to fight for California. And I call upon California's congressional delegation, Democrats and Republicans alike, to join us in that fight. Together we can be a powerful voice that Washington cannot ignore. However, I want to be clear that we are prepared in case that any of these federal solutions do not materialize. For each federal dollar that we fall short, we have a trigger list of additional cuts and revenues, which then Anna again will be elegantly explaining in the details later on. Now, I know that the budget that I have laid out today is difficult and it is painful, but California is resilient. We know we will once again get through these tough challenges. And it's also important to note that all states are struggling in this economic crisis.